And good morning, folks. I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Thanks for tuning in to Car Musings. Well, it's another fun day of an early morning, and I'm in the car and I'm doing my thing. And a lot of things I've been thinking about. I think I've been thinking about this the most as my kid reaches the wonderful age of 18, where supposedly, quote unquote, you're an adult, which I still think remains to be seen because she still acts like a child. It's that in between stage, I guess. This is the best way I can put it. You're not really one or the other, but you try to flex the muscles on both. Like kicking the tires or taking something for a test drive. That's kind of how it seems to be. It's kind of like, let's just test drive this. Let's do some adult stuff, and you know, see whether or not that works out good. Which my wonderful teenage daughter decided, let's get blackout drunk because that sounds like a cool thing to do. And she did it, made a complete fool of herself. It was ugly. I know because we were the ones that had to come rescue her, but I'm like, that's not the most adult thing you could ever do, but I'm hoping you learned something from it. I understand it's these experiences that teenagers have to go through, but I really feel I'm scared for this generation. Seriously. They're a bunch of friggin' crybabies, pussies. Like, I hate to break it. Like, it's just sad, though. Um, so here's the interesting thing. I watched a video on this recently, and somebody posed this question to ChatGPT, and it's like, ChatGPT, if you were the devil, how would you destroy the minds of the next generation? So let me rephrase that so you can remember it. ChatGPT, if you were the devil, how would you destroy the minds of the next generation? Pose that question to ChatGPT, and it's interesting the actual answer you get. Because what you will get is the answer which seems to have definitely made up Gen Z. Absolutely. Interestingly enough. And it's just scary on how accurate it was because, yeah, it's like that was the generation they decided to destroy. But when I start reading the output from what ChatGPT is saying, I'm like, wow, okay. It's like you did this. You actually followed through on this. Like you are the reason why that generation is the way it is. No backbones. Seriously, no backbones. Everything's soft and cushy and snowflakeish. It's just absolutely scary to think about. And I worry about my kid. I worry about her because if you have no backbone, if you are worried about somebody saying boo to you, like knee jerk reaction, you're going to get pushed around. You're definitely going to get pushed around if you don't learn to stand up and be a little tougher with stuff. Like the occasions where I have to hank, my car's making interesting sounds. On the occasions where I have to honk my horn, because there's a lot of idiots on the road, so I gotta let them know how much of an idiot they're gonna be. Oh my God, she jumps out of her seat, like, whoa, what are you doing? Why are you being so aggressive? And I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? Come on, learn to be a little aggressive, because otherwise the world is going to eat you alive. You can't not be aggressive. You cannot give back and stand your ground. You have to, right? It's just a reality. You just have to do it. Within keeping it within context, of course. You don't want to pick a fight, but at the same time, you can't let people push you around. There's a lot of idiots out there that are aggressive assholes that think that they're entitled. We've had that discussion. So, hey, but on today, again, thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Matt Morgan, again, and thank you for being here. Today, obviously, we're talking about teenagers. If you've not figured it out, today's topic is teenagers. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And now it's like they're trying to swing the other way because, Gen X had mentioned that we were the feral generation. Now these alphas are trying to simulate that, right? Oh well, they're alphas. The alphas are feral. No, no, no. I don't think alphas know what the hell they are. And what what a misleading designation to give that generation. They are psycho, but not psycho in a good way. They have no clue if they're coming or going with their friggin' heads out of toilets. Like, it's almost scary. It's like they're trying to find an identity and they're like, oh, we're alpha, so we must be tough and aggressive. No, it's not something that you can just make up on your own. Oh, this is how we're going to be recognized. That's not how it works. It is how the world presents you how it is, and you just suck it up and you deal with it. It's a generational thing. It's not something that you decide as a generation. You can't decide how it's going to be. It's the way, sign of the times. It's the way the world is at that point. It is the way everything else is going on, how you're raised, the environment, school, blah, blah, blah. It's all determined by other factors which mold you into how your generation is. Now, if the Gen Alphas are going through the shit where they have to be survivors, that'd be one thing. But they're not. They're not. They're coming after the snowflake generation of Gen Zs, and they don't have hard times. They have easy street. They have the I don't have to do anything generation attitude because they weren't taught discipline. They weren't taught manners. They weren't taught a lot of this crap. They were pretty much just, do what you want, everything instant gratification, blah, 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 blah. They're just going to be the psycho generation. They're going to be like screwed in the head. They're not going to be a functional generation. They're going to be like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in a friggin' psychotic way. That's just the reality of it. This is what I'm already seeing with the behaviors and these antics and everything else. I mean, even the Gen Zs are looking at the alphas going, yeah, these guys are screwed. They're like screwed in the head. So, we're not making better generations. We're not. I'm hoping whatever comes after alpha, parents start parenting and start getting their shit together. Like, enough of this hands-off approach or spoil approach or whatever approach. That's absolutely bullshit. If you're going to have kids, let's go with some base rules here. 1, make sure you can friggin' afford them. Don't put that burden on society. 2, it's not your right to have kids, okay? Just because you can have kids doesn't mean you should have kids. You should be able to provide for those kids before you even start spreading your legs or thinking about having them or entertaining the idea. You make sure that you got your shit together, that you can support, raise, everything else those kids. It's nobody else's responsibility other than yours. Don't rely on society to pay your way. Don't rely on anybody else. You should be able to be self-sufficient to be able to support them. Okay? You don't have a right to live off the system because somebody has to pay for that system. And that's my sorry ass. All right? And the thing is, I don't want to pay for your kids. I don't want to pay for your mistakes. Okay? That might sound heartless and insensitive. Oh, well, we need a pop. No. No. I've seen it time and time and fucking time again. No. Do the responsible thing. Only have kids if you can afford the kids. Mentally, emotionally, everything else, you only have kids. Do the fucking wonderful deed that you think is so miraculous and then be stupid enough 9 months later have a kid and be a burden of everybody else. Yeah, you're the burden of everybody. Unless you can step up and take care of it yourself. No, it doesn't mean somebody else is financially helping you. It doesn't mean somebody else is stepping in and taking care of the kid with you and everything else. No, that's not the responsible way to do it. The responsible way to do it is you are the one taking care of all that shit. Nobody else. You're paying for the roof over your head. You're paying for the food in the stomachs. You're taking the time. You're doing the actual daycare. You're doing all that crap. You, the one who decided to get fucked stupidly and get a kid, if you can't support it, don't do it. End of story. Because for me, no. Like, fuck, I dreaded that freaking possibility. Like, I'm not picking up somebody else's fucking shit on that. Like, fuck that. Uh-uh. Like, no. That's kind of where I draw the line. Fuck, I mean, I'm in my 50s with a 17-year-old, and she's a handful as it is. And she's actually somewhat competent, right? She's actually somewhat competent, and it's still an uphill battle. It's still a struggle. You know, it doesn't matter how smart they are in some areas. Other areas, they just follow the textbook playbook, and it's like, holy crap. So, yeah, especially, I mean, I admit my generation, there was a lot of teenage pregnancies going on because that was the sign of the times. That was the stupidity and everything else. And it's not like I supported that idea back then. I still think it was stupid. Because kids having kids is not a good thing. But what happened to those kids afterwards? Bad examples and everything else. I'll give you an example. This chick I once knew, Nikki, what a fucking mess. But she was a freaking mess. She really was. And she had kids, but she did it. She did everything. She came from a really fucked up family. Like, her mother was not very attentive and not very responsible parent. So, fair enough. But Nikki ended up being the worst of the worst. I mean, it's somewhat my buddy who got involved with hers, you know, fault. Really messed with her head and screwed her up at a young age. But oh my God, that teenage, early fucking and having kids and to learn to drugs, prostitution, and complete fuckery, absolutely fuckery. Uh, I mean, that woman is just fucked in the head. She was just, you know, jumping into certain engagements way too young as a teenager before you're mentally and emotionally ready for it will just screw with you. And it did. It screwed her up. She was damaged goods. By the time she was 30, she looked like she was 50. So much damaged goods, so used, so abused, because she engaged in adult stuff way too soon. That's what I'm telling teenagers. Like, here's a few things as a teenager. Like, don't rush into stuff. Eventually, things will come your way. Okay. Eventually, you'll get to experience everything. Rushing into it's going to lead to problems. Rushing into anything that could really screw up your future, bad idea. Okay. I'm thankful for the fact that my daughter's got a head on her shoulders, is not engaged in that sex shit, whatever. I mean, I might be naive. Maybe she's like whoring around. I don't know. But thing is that I'm having no scares about stupidity happen and everything else. So I'm thankful for that. But I'm hoping she's realized the seriousness of it and is putting it off because she's focusing on her future and focusing on her education. But no, there's no reason to rush into that. Let me tell you from experience. Yeah, it's like, yay, it feels good and it's a rush, the endorphins. And then you come down and then it's just like, whatever. You could stand on your head, you could fucking do it this way, that way, everything else. The end result is the feeling's the same. It's the rush, it's the boom, and then it's boom. Okay, now, but you're playing Russian roulette, right? Because the thing is that, yeah, it feels good. It's an experience. It's like, whatever. But you're playing with a loaded gun, and one false move, and you're fucked. Figuratively, literally, everything else. You are fucked, and you're pregnant, and you just fucked up your life. Not worth the risk. Go buy yourself a chocolate cake and then gorge yourself in your favorite dessert, your favorite meal, and everything else. You'll pretty much get the same experience with less of the penalty. Really, it's true. You get less of the penalty and less of the risk and less the chance of fucking up your life. So that's basically my best advice on that from my own experience. It's just like don't rush into it. You know, I don't know why it is teenage girls they want to rush into freaking relationships. My daughter's so fucking hard up for a freaking boyfriend for whatever reason. She thinks she has to have one. You would think that the arguments that my wife and I have, she would be discouraged from wanting a relationship, but I think she thinks she could do it better. It's not like she's freaking lonely. I mean, she's got tons of friends. She's missed popularity. She's got a supportive family. Why do you want to rush into that? Why do you want some guy to come along and fuck up your life, mess with your head, throw a monkey wrench in your plans? Like it doesn't make sense. You don't need that shit. Most teenagers don't really think. That's the problem, right? They don't balance the consequences of shit. So they make stupid, just rash decisions because they want to rush into experiencing life. I'm like, don't rush. Enjoy the ride. Focus on the important areas. I mean, it's bad enough the teenagers don't listen to the previous generations. They think they got it all figured out. And I don't know why the human nature's wired like that. Like the smart ones are going to listen to the previous generation. They're actually going to listen, absorb, and fully simulate what the previous generations actually done and the mistakes. But my own experiences is that I've raised boys and girls as teenagers. Still working on the girl side of it, but I've raised boy teenagers, and it's just both sides of the fence just freaking think that they got it all figured out and think they can do it better and everything else. Don't really want to listen to sound advice, you know. Especially if they view their parents in a certain way, they don't. They look at them and go, "Fuck, you're just a loser." I can do better. So I don't know. If I had to do it again, I would definitely listen to the previous generation and go, okay, so what are the pitfalls? Where did certain things not work? And then I would take heed to that, be smart about it, and go, okay, that didn't work there, that didn't work there, okay, I'm not going to do that stuff, and I'd be further ahead. A lot less bumps and curves and everything else. I mean, really, I didn't know. Back to the sex thing, I didn't know what I was freaking doing as a teenager. No teenager knows what they're doing. I didn't learn anything when it came to, you know, uh, the sex thing until later on in life, you know, the ins and outs and everything. And then it was just like compartmentalized. It was just like, yeah, okay. So it doesn't matter who I do it with or what I do it with, what position I do it in. The end is the same. It's like logical scientific deduction. A plus B equals C. Okay, thank you very much. That's it. That's it. Oh, people are like, oh, you're doing it wrong. No, no, no. Think about it. It's just different sensations, different feelings, blah, blah, blah. But the end result is the same. And the kinkier you try to get, you're just screwing with your head. It's not worth it. So, whatever. Um, but besides that, as teenagers, we experiment with different things drugs, alcohol, everything else. For me, it was a very cut and dry, easy solution because when I experimented with certain things, I quickly learned the consequences. Like what happened is I experimented with acid once, and thankfully I survived it and didn't go psycho because you can. Um, but then I was actually applying to be in the regular military, and they, because of my honesty, because honesty and integrity are my jam. Yeah, I was basically told, no, you can't do this, this, and this ever. I'm like, wow. So I played with something one time, experienced something one time, and I've just cut all my options for my future. You know, that's one thing. That's where you kind of have to try to put it all into perspective in the sense that if one action or one experience can cost you your future decisions, is it really worth it? So you experiment with drugs, ends up being a hard drug. It has such a long-term residual effect on your body that it fucks you up for life. You just cut a lot of options. Is it worth it? You get drunk one night, get behind the wheel of a car and get into an accident and kill somebody. Is it worth it? Because again, your decisions are screwed up. Your future opportunities are gone because of that one stupid decision. If you go on a fuck spree one night and decide, I'm gonna fuck everybody in sight, blah 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 blah, and you're a teenage girl, and either or, even if you're the guy, because you're still part of the equation, and you get pregnant, but religious reasons, no abortion, because abortions are a lot not as easy as it sounds. As much as they're like, oh, well, I'll just get an abortion. Well, it's not that easy. Mentally, emotionally, physically, it fucks you up. So you pretty much have some future fuckery there. But if you're pregnant and have the kid, you're fucked as well because you've lost options. Next 20 years of your life are screwed. Most likely you'll end up in a poverty. Most likely you won't pull through of it. It's reality. It's reality, right? So you really have to weigh your factors. Is that one experience worth it? Teenagers, I'm talking to you. Is that experience worth it? Are you going to play Russian roulette on the chances of what can actually affect you? Whether it be drugs, drinking, sex, or mischief, breaking the law, trespassing, doing something dangerous, being a pain in the ass to somebody, is it worth the consequences? And I know teenagers have a difficulty with the consequences, but is it worth the consequences? That's what you really have to ask yourself. Is it worth the repercussions for the actions? Something for you to think about, teenagers. And I'm talking to Gen Zs because you're still teenagers. Some of you are on the older side, but still, my advice is just grow a backbone. Um, yeah, but it's sad to think that this generation is marked as being lost in online scrolling viciously. The TikTok generation, the friggin' Instagram generation, they have no patience, they have no understanding. It's just, as I said at the beginning of today's show, go to ChatGPT and basically type in ChatGPT, if you were the devil, how would you destroy the minds of the next generation? And see what it comes up with and tell me. I dare you to try to tell me that it's not the way Gen Z is and whatnot moving forward. It's exactly them. Exactly that. I wished my daughter was an exception, but no. She is like the poster child for Gen Z. Like, it's scary at the same time, but she's the poster child for Gen Z. And I don't know if it's something to be proud of or a flex, but I mean, I love her. She's super book smart, and I'm going to say that, yeah, super book smart. Getting a little smarter on the life scale of things with some of her silly decisions. But, I'm still trying to get through the woods. She's going to be 18 soon, and I'm like, fuck, great. You going to try flexing that 18 adult muscle? No, 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 no. The age is just a number. And yes, the law might say certain things about that, but let's remember there's laws in the household too. So, my wonderful kid, if you listen to this episode and think that you're going to have the ultimate power, you're not going to have the ultimate power because at the end of the day, our house is still a country that you have no ownership or rulership in. So at the end of the day, we still make the decisions. Okay? And although teenagers have crazy ideas, well, I'm moving out then. Good fucking luck. Good fucking luck. Because it's expensive out there. It's expensive out there. Like, it's crazy, crazy expensive out there. So good luck with that. I remember a crazy idea she had at one point, and just it's just a reflection of adolescence and teenagers. Oh, well, I got money in the bank. I'll just move out and get a roommate. I'm like, I got so much money you got. I have this much. Okay. So in 3, 4 months, when that amount expires, what are you gonna do? I'll move back home and save up more. To do what? To then move out again. So you want to blow your savings stupidly. So you can move out, so you can do whatever the fuck you want, have people over, unruly, ruthless, like just do whatever the fuck you want because you think you know better and willing to spend all that money just so you can be unsupervised and unrestricted and everything else. What are you gonna do? You gonna have fuck fest 95 or what are you doing here? Like why do you see a need to do this? What are you restricted that you can't do at home? Other than the obvious moral stuff of not having guys come over and fuck you all night. Like, seriously. Well, why does it always have to be about sex? Well, I don't see any other reason why you'd want to move out. It doesn't make sense either way. It doesn't make sense other than that one area. Oh, to have friends over it, whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, we're saving you from being ripped off. We're saving from people eating your food. We're saving you from people destroying your place. We're saving you from a lot of stuff that you don't realize, you know. But eventually you go through those hard knocks. Trust me, we're doing you a favor on that one. Teenagers, seriously, I'm talking to you. As much as you think you got it all figured out, you don't. Because one area that you're failing to realize is that your parents have already been there, done that. Same with the previous generation. Why would you want to repeat the same mistakes? Why do you want to do the same stupid stuff? It doesn't make sense for you to want to constantly be in a loop of failure without progression. Listen to the previous generations of where they've been. What, because you want those experiences too? Okay. It's like the same fucking thing. And you're not getting further along if you keep thinking that you can do it better and differently because it's your experience. It doesn't change. It's been proven generation after generation after generation. The only generations that get ahead are the generations that come along and have the insight to learn from the previous generation through and through, and then they are to the next level. Where everybody else wants to do the my experience bullshit. No, it doesn't work that way. Like, because you want to have the experience, you're going to go through the downfalls. You're going to go through all of that other crap. There's no way you're skipping levels at that point. You're pretty much average. You're playing the playbook. You're playing the playbook, and you're not any more advanced than everybody else. And if you want to be regular and normal and average, fine. Knock yourself out. It's more work on your parents, you know. My own experience is a lot more fucking work on me that my child wants to play the teenage friggin' playbook like every other average teenager. And it's like fuck. They don't understand how much stress we go through. They have no idea. No idea. I'm talking to you, teenagers, really. You have no idea how much stress you put on your parents. And you don't understand, and you won't until you grow up and mature a little that you'll come to realize it, but you put a lot of stress on your parents. At least the parents that actually parent. At least the parents that actually give a shit. At least the parents that are meant to be parents and actually deserve to have the title of parents. Those are the ones that are stressed and they're anxious and they're worried about you and they're concerned about your future and they're sacrificing their asses off for you, which you don't really realize because you're not connecting the dots. But like what I'm going through now, try to start my own business to get ahead of the game. Didn't work out because the industry's fucked, the society's fucked, and the economy's fucked right now. Um, so I'm hurting, but I can't put that burden on my kid. So I'm looking for work. I'm retiring this dream of having my own business, and I have to go to work. I have to shovel shit. I probably have to work multiple jobs, because I was sold a pipe dream. It didn't work out. But it doesn't stop at the fact that I still got responsibilities and I still got people that rely on me, you know, and shit's got to get paid. Shit's got to get done. And no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just the way it is. So, you know, my kid's not thinking about that. She's thinking about getting together with friends. She's thinking about the new makeup she wants to try. She wants to think about the new thing that she wants to do baking wise, or, or if this guy that she thinks is cute will notice her. Like, she's not thinking about anything beyond that. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, how the fuck are we going to buy groceries? How are we going to pay the bills? Because my daughter leaves the lights on all the time. How are we going to pay the mortgage? How are we going to pay the car payments? Like, this is what I have to think about, and then I see the fact that our resources are dwindling. But I can't let that burden be on her. She needs to chase her dreams. But my whole focus is around making sure she has what she needs in order for her to reach her goals. Because my dreams are dead. My goals are diminished. I can't sacrifice at her expense. Do I want to at times? Hell yeah, because I don't feel appreciated at times. But, you know, it's a really rare breed of teenager that actually has the foresight to realize the sacrifice at a young age and learn from the experience of the previous generations at a young age and bumps up to the next level. Doesn't play by the teenage blueprints and playbook, and actually jumps ahead and matures a lot quicker than the rest of them. So fortunately, my kid's not that. She's super smart. She's as smart as a whip, and this is why I'm investing in her schooling, and I'm hoping she invests, you know, moving forward still in her schooling, because that's the only reason I'm backing her. It's the only reason I'm making the sacrifices, because she's damn good at school, like she is. When she applies herself, she's damn good, and she's gonna knock it out of the park. So that's a sure win bet, in my opinion. So that's why I'm backing that horse, so to speak, as they say. So, if she sucked at school and she was average, I'd be like, yeah, go get a job. Get a job and, earn your own way. But no, 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 no. I'm investing in her and sacrificing for her because the fact is she's really good at it. I sucked at school, so invest in something that they're definitely good at. Parents, like, for those of you that actually do parent, invest in your teenagers, invest in their dreams, help them get to that point, and check in on them once in a while. For fuck's sakes, like, I remember my kid's friggin' ex-boyfriend was such a dick, but you meet the parents and you think, okay, you got your shit together. You raised, this is 4 kids you're raising and everything else. They seem to have a good moral code, sense of honor, and everything else, but their kids are fuck ups. Like, especially that one was a fuck up. We call him shithead now, but he was a fuck up. He flew under the radar and got away with the no moral code. Like, he really bamboozled his parents to believing that he was the right stuff. So maybe the other three, the 2 daughters and the younger son, got it right. Like, they did a good job with him, but he was a fuck boy. He was a fucked in the head boy. Like, he played a good game, but eventually it all comes out in the wash, my friends. It all comes out. We eventually see your true colors. We see who you are. We see beyond the game, which I eventually did, and I hate the little fucker for it now. So raise your kids right. Okay, I'm spiraling in circles here. I gotta get on with my day. I have a few things I gotta wrap up. But hey, you know what? It's tough out there. I'm hoping you're blessed with a teenager in your life that actually jumps to the next level and learns from the previous generations and doesn't really can draw a conclusion without having to get into the dangerous world of doing stupid experiences like drugs, alcohol, and sex at a young age. Honestly, I'm hoping that they can see that there's more to life than that. Still enjoy that, but later on, when they're responsible and actually can step up to taking responsibility for that kind of stupidity, um, And that's the thing, right? Everybody has their own definitions of what growing up is all about and the experiences in the life and everything else. But honestly, answer this one question. As much as you can say that you had really great experiences from it and you enjoyed it and everything else, did it really serve you well? Yeah, ask yourself that. Did it really serve you well by engaging in those experiences? And how much further are you ahead in life because of it? This is what you really have to ask yourself. Now, if you're successful and make six figures per year and everything else, and it's because you know, you fucked, sucked, and drank and engaged in narcotics and everything else, great. Well, you're an exception to the rule. Chances are, though, no, because you made the stupid decisions. You probably ended up a burnout and not really successful. At least statistically, this is what I've seen from people I've known that got into the party life, you know, and not responsibility life, and they're nowhere at this point. Or they went completely cray cray like my ex buddy. But, anyways, just make smart choices, smart decisions. Learn from the previous generation. Teenagers, that's all I'm going to say. And for Christ's sakes, Gen Z, grow a friggin' backbone. Learn to have some patience as well. Because freaking the alphas are fucking crazy, and they're gonna need some guidance from you. And I don't even want to think about the next generation, what their friggin' uh, the shit's gonna be. It's like, oh, anyways. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. Hey, thanks for tuning in to my teenage babbling episode topic today. I'm passionate about it only because I care as a parent. They're not all bad. They seem to have a mission somewhat. They seem to have a plight, but honestly, they just need to toughen up a bit. Um, teach a solid foundation to your kids, people, whether it's the Gen Z generation or beyond. Like, teach them to have some balls, stand up for the right thing, make the right decisions, and for Christ's sakes, don't I don't know. Don't let don't let social media friggin' raise them. Like Instagram and TikTok and all that other stupidity. They're getting lies put in their head and misinformation put in their head, and it's really screwing with their reality of things. Because the reality they're making is not a reality that exists. It's somebody else fabricated it, and it's not from a factual point of view. So, make sure you check in on your kids once in a while. Make sure that they're learning the right stuff. And if you don't know you don't know the right stuff because you weren't taught it or you're fucked in the head too, then talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about. Get some help. Seek somebody out that knows what the hell's going on. Um, it's elementary. All right. I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Thanks for tuning in to Car Musings. It's been a pleasure as always. This is probably a longer episode now that I think about it. Very long episode. But I was kind of passionate about it because, it's on your mind as a parent. You want what's best for your kids. And because what's best for your kids and the way you raise them affects the rest of the world. And let's be real. The world needs a lot of friggin' help. Um, and if we don't do it right with the generation that's going to actually take the reins on the world, then we're just, you know, the end is near if we don't teach a generation to be able to do it right. So like, follow, share, all that fun stuff. Thank you very much. If you could throw a few bucks my way, I'd appreciate that too, especially since, I'm really hurting right now and nobody gives a shit in this world. So I hope you give a shit and throw a few bucks my way, make some donations. I would appreciate that. Love you for tuning in. Thanks for being here. I'm your host, Matt Morgan, and I will see you next episode. Bye for now.